You've heard the name Jeffrey Epstein before. Almost everyone has. He was arrested, charged, and his case exposed a network of powerful people. Since then, investigators and journalists have continued digging into his connections. Many of the individuals around him have faced public scrutiny. Now imagine a different situation. What if someone else here in the United States was accused of serious misconduct, but the entertainment industry barely reacted? No headlines every day. No constant media breakdowns. No public outrage at the same level. That's the claim some people are making right now. One of the loudest voices has been Jaguar Wright. Before we go further, it's important to be clear. Tyler Perry's name does not appear in the Epstein files. There is no official link between him and that case. However, something else is happening that has drawn attention. As of early 2026, 2 separate federal lawsuits have been filed against Tyler Perry by 2 different male actors who worked on his productions. Together, the lawsuits are seeking $337 million in damages. According to the filings, both cases include text messages, dates, and specific details about alleged incidents. The fact that the lawsuits were filed months apart, by 2 men who reportedly did not know each other, has raised questions for many observers. Each describes what they say is a similar pattern of behavior. To understand why this has become such a big story, it helps to know who Tyler Perry is. Tyler Perry's life story has often been described as inspiring. He has spoken openly about struggling early in his career, even living in his car at one point. He began writing and performing stage plays, many of them in churches across the South. Local audiences supported his work, and over time his productions grew larger. Today he owns Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, built on hundreds of acres of land. He produces films and television shows for major networks and streaming platforms. According to Forbes, he reached billionaire status, making him one of the most successful figures in modern entertainment. He is often praised as an example of building an independent media empire. Now, here's where the controversy begins. Jaguar Wright is a singer who has spent years speaking out about alleged misconduct within the music and film industries. In the past, she made claims about well-known figures long before official investigations were launched. Her critics have often dismissed her, but some supporters argue that certain things she mentioned later became public knowledge. For years, she has warned people about what she describes as hidden protection systems within entertainment circles. She has specifically spoken about Tyler Perry, claiming powerful figures shield each other from accountability. The first major lawsuit in this situation was filed in June 2025 by an actor named Derek Dixon, who appeared on the television series The Oval. In his complaint, Dixon alleges sexual harassment and assault. He claims Perry entered his bed without permission while he was staying at a guest house, and that there were unwanted advances on set. The lawsuit also references text messages that were submitted as evidence. In one message quoted in the filing, Perry allegedly asked, "What's it going to take for you to have guiltless sex? Have you all found that yet in therapy?" Another message referenced killing off a character in a show unexpectedly. Dixon's legal team argues that this felt like a threat tied to his role on the series. Dixon further claims that promises of career opportunities, including financial support and production help, were offered and later withdrawn. Tyler Perry has denied the allegations. As of now, the cases are still active in federal court, and no final judgment has been reached. The bigger question many people are asking is about media coverage. Why has this story not received the same level of attention as other high-profile cases? Is it because the legal process is still unfolding? Or is it something else? At this point, these remain allegations, and the courts will determine the outcome. But the situation has already sparked debate about power, influence, and accountability in Hollywood.
Justice would look like thinking that I've made a change and that something like this won't happen to another actor that works for him or another actor in the industry. That would be justice for me.
Second lawsuit. Mario Rodriguez and $77 million 6 months after the first case. Another person came forward. In December 2025, actor Mario Rodriguez filed a lawsuit seeking $77 million. He worked on a horror comedy project and claimed that Tyler Perry touched him without permission and made unwanted advances over a long period. Rodriguez stated that he was invited to Perry's home in Los Angeles under the idea of watching a movie. According to the complaint, the situation turned into an assault. He said he decided to speak out after reading about the earlier lawsuit filed by another actor. Seeing similar claims made him realize he was not alone. Both cases show a similar pattern, even though the men filed separately and did not coordinate. Christian Keyes, the early warning 2 years before these lawsuits became public, actor Christian Keyes spoke out online. In December 2023, he went live on social media and talked about a powerful entertainment executive who he said had harassed him for years since 2005. He claimed the person had people who protected him and that he kept recordings as proof. He never used a direct name, but many people linked his story to Tyler Perry because of the timing and details. Later, Keyes removed his videos and stayed silent, which led to online speculation about pressure or a settlement.
Is this some bullshit? Is this another one of those meetings where you meet with a black billionaire businessman, and while my manager is there, everything is everything. I got my Kinko's presentation with the plastic cover on it. I paid good money on this, good money. I'm running it down like you can invest in this, that, and the other. As soon as my manager leaves, he moves it into a conference room. And I'm like, okay, it's a conference room. Nothing sketchy about this. Didn't realize that the doors on the side of the conference room right there led into his suite. So about 8 or 10 minutes, I'm nervous in my phone. Like, okay, okay, you changing? You got to use the bathroom. It's a number 2. Cool. He comes back in silk pajamas, silk robe, right as they're delivering strawberries and champagne like this is Pretty Woman or a fucking date. Now, I'm like, wait, whoa, this ain't that. I'm not him, and this ain't that. I'd love for you to invest in my company. He probably should have, because he would own a piece of all the Queen's Men. The books I've already sold, the 6 or 8 books I'm about to release, all of that. He would have had a piece of all of that monetarily, but he didn't. He was thinking with his dick. And yeah, he came back in, grabbed a strawberry, sat down, and I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. You got my presentation, I'm gone. He's like, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. He's like, are you sure? That second, are you sure, means if you don't stay and do what I want, you're not going to get what you're hoping for. Now, this particular guy is out here paying tuition for entire classes of HBCUs after this sketchy shit. Want to air him out too. I'm just tired of carrying this bullshit with me.
In January 2026, Christian Keyes spoke out once more. This time, his focus was not on past harassment claims. Instead, he accused Tyler Perry Studios of taking credit for his work on the series All the Queen's Men. He said he had to involve the Writers Guild to ensure his name was restored to the project. According to him, his original ideas were changed when control shifted away from him. While discussing later seasons of the show, Keyes mentioned that new content was added that did not match his vision. He made it clear that those changes were not part of what he created. Jaguar Wright supported Keyes during this period. She said his story matched what she had witnessed herself at industry gatherings. Wright has often talked about what she describes as hidden power networks in entertainment. She also claimed that Perry keeps a group of supporters who defend him online and silence critics. She described this group as people hired to shape public opinion and dismiss accusations quickly. In her view, such tactics turn serious claims into arguments about jealousy or resentment, making it harder for victims to be heard. Wright further stated that she saw Perry at private events linked to other industry figures, and that attendance at these gatherings created tension in professional relationships.
Listen to this, guys. Tell me what you think.
Actors, they're not allowed to consort with me. Because I saw you at a Diddy party, Tyler. And you were having a glorious time. I spent a lot of time in Miami, and I snuck around Star Island quite a bit. I know Christian isn't lying, but I need him to tell me what happened to my friends.
And more importantly, who was going to play into exactly what I thought they were going to play into. And I wish I could have been more surprised. But from the second that I did Pierce Morgan, right after Diddy got arrested, I said some things. And everything happened just like I said.
It's interesting.
But
And
I
yes,
said some things last year on the couch. And I think a lot of people keep forgetting about what I say. I think people are so busy trying to disprove the reality.
After she spoke publicly, Wright claimed that Perry sent a clear message behind the scenes. According to her, actors working on his projects were told not to talk to her or respond to her statements. She says they were warned that any contact could cost them their jobs. If true, that kind of instruction would create fear and silence among staff. People often question her credibility, but supporters point out that she spoke about issues involving other well-known figures years before authorities took action. She raised concerns about certain artists long before arrests or investigations became public. Because of that history, some believe her warnings deserve attention. She has compared the situation to other high-profile cases. For example, when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, the case received non-stop media coverage. News networks reported daily updates. Brands cut ties quickly, public hearings followed, and his associates were investigated. There was strong pressure for answers and transparency. In contrast, critics argue that the response to the lawsuits against Perry has been far quieter. They say there are serious claims, court filings, and evidence such as text messages, yet major outlets have not given it the same level of attention. Supporters of Perry point out that allegations remain unproven in court. Perry continues to run his studio, employ many workers, and produce content. His legal team calls the lawsuits false and says the claims are attempts to gain money through legal action. The cases are still moving through the courts as of early 2026. One lawsuit was transferred to federal court in Georgia, which is Perry's home state. Some legal experts see this as a strategic move by his lawyers. The other case remains in California, and the plaintiff is pushing for public accountability through interviews and media appearances. At this stage, no final decisions have been made. The outcome depends on the evidence and court rulings. People are left debating whether powerful figures face equal scrutiny or whether influence protects them. The discussion continues, and many are watching closely to see what happens next.